Kami sa Antique, ang aming pagbati ay kruhay. Binabati ko si Gobernadora Dodot Cadiao for the first time sa kasaysayan ng aking lalawigan. Nanalo ang Antique. Congratulations! Salamat, durungan ka, salamat gid. At siyempre, lahat ng ating mga awardees, provincial governors, city mayors, municipal mayors, congratulations. Taon-taon nandito ako mula 2014. I'm so happy for all of you. But congratulations. I see the great transition from being a respected man of integrity from the Armed Forces of the Philippines to a hard-working Cabinet Member Secretary Ed Anyo. A man who knows how to deal with the peace and order problems and issues, and who knows and understands local governance in his own simple, humble way. Sec Ed. And all the officials of the DILG whom I work with every year on the national budget, and I think they're very happy with the budget, always. Because I'm a very supportive, and we work together. So, babati po sa inyong lahat. I actually have a prepared speech. Maganda, pinaghandaan, may PowerPoint pa. Pero masyado kayong nakakaganado, gusto ko magkwento na lang. Would you rather I read my speech? I can just email it to you, but I'd rather speak from the heart. I'm here in the middle not to sing, okay? I'm going to talk about all of you, because all of you is what makes our nation great. They say that all politics is local. It's true. But I dare say that all good governance is local. Because we legislators, and I've been in the Senate for 20 years, since 1998, and each and every one of you, or your fathers, or your wives, or your sisters, or your parents, or grandparents, have helped me somehow in the 3 terms in the Senate, where mostly I'm #1 in respective regions, etc. But it is not all about politics. This is all about governance. At the end of the day, whatever laws we legislate, on the environment, on women, on business and industry, for the elderly, for the differently abled, it is the local governments that matter most. And so, it is so heartwarming and inspiring to have the seal of good governance, to inspire our local governments to even do better as they already are trying their best. I'm so happy that you've actually put at the core of your 7 competencies disaster risk reduction. As you very well know, for more than 10 years, I've been working with the UNISDR as the global champion for disaster risk reduction, or simply put, as a global champion on resilience with the Geneva-based UNISDR. You probably even know it better than me, dahil kayo ang nakakaramdam ng init sa tagtuyot at ng baha, tsunami, storm surge sa panahon ng bagyo. We know that all these natural hazards will become more intense, more frequent, and even stronger. And we know that every peso devoted and invested in prevention and preparedness is 7 pesos savings in terms of losses. We know that. We know that way back in 2009, that Mondoy actually ate up almost 3% of our GDP. We know how Yolanda affected more than half of our provinces all over the country and affected again a big chunk of our GDP. We don't want that to happen. That is why it is so important that we mainstream DRR in our local government. That is the reason why the NDREAM law was enacted, probably due for review, because there is a sunset provision. And in every municipality and city and province, we know that there is a DRR officer. I hope that all the DRR officers can really dedicate themselves and not double up as city administrators or assistant of the mayor, but if all these DRR officers would actually know the natural hazards the vulnerabilities and risks in every local government. If we have the geohazard maps and the multi-hazard maps in every province, city, and municipality, and use it as a template for our governance, then I believe that the loss of lives and the loss of livelihoods will be much, much less. We know that in many crises, it is brought about by the lack of preparedness. Kung alam natin purple sa geohazard map, hindi dapat magtayo ng eskwelahan, hindi dapat maglagay ng covered court. Kung alam natin sa mapa na guguho ang bundok, ay hindi siguro mangyayari ang maraming namamatay. So, it is so important, and every budget season and henceforth, I always ask the DNR, the NAMRIA, to share, and the MGB, to share all their 1:10,000 maps with local governments. Dapat nakalagay yan, soft and hard copy, sa bawat LGU. Because only then can we actually plan where to put our infrastructure. It is also important that we assess the structural integrity of every building, of every public infrastructure, especially in Metro Manila. Based on the Mamayer study, the JICA study, way back in 2004, they said that the earthquake that could happen is right to happen anytime now. And so, the frequent MMDA drills is important. And in every urbanized city, I believe this should be adopted. It's also important that we use, in the most convenient way possible, natural buffers. For example, the PCA, the Philippine Coconut Authority, under the DA, should be able to give more seedlings and to plant more coconut trees in a triangulated way so that the winds can be naturally buffeted in areas which are vulnerable facing the sea. Mangroves should not be cut, but in fact reforested so that we can have natural buffers against storm surge, at the same time encouraging more fish to populate. These are things our LGUs already know, perhaps even better than I. But these are things which should be institutionalized in local governance. DRR need not be expensive. Disaster risk reduction and preparedness need not be high-tech. We know that in Bangladesh, for example, their early warning system is not high-tech, but it's just red flags that they do with a body system or kapitbahay style. And in Bangladesh, the number of deaths based on natural hazards inflicted on them reduced significantly when they institutionalized the early warning system. I also believe that we should use indigenous knowledge in early warning systems so that the knowledge of the more than 10 million indigenous peoples will be able to be integrated in our DRR efforts. So I'm so glad that disaster preparedness is actually one of your key elements in choosing the winners of the Seal of Good Governance. I'm so happy also that you have included environmental protection and management. As you know, your senator is the author of at least 8 environmental laws since 1998. The Clean Air Act. Metro Manila has one of the dirtiest air, such that it is almost like an unlivable city. I always ask again the DNR during our budget hearings, are your air quality monitoring stations working? Is it working? At any one time, any citizen must have access to the kind of air we're breathing. Is the air in Quezon City of Mayor Herbert any better than the air we're breathing here in Pasay or in Manila? So this is something that we Metro Manilans must do something about. That's why I love going home to my home province of Antique, because the air is so fresh and I really am able to breathe properly, and my lungs is given a breather when I'm there. And so, Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act, I ask all of our governors and mayors up to our capitans, do we actually care or take care of the lakes, the rivers, the seas, and the brooks in our backyard? Because if all the 42,000 barangays just took care of the water systems in their areas, I don't think we would have much problem. I am happy to host in our province one of the cleanest inland rivers in the country, and that's the Bugang River in my hometown of Pandan. I hope that it continues to be so. However, I am told that sometimes there's already E. coli because of overpopulation and because of the lack of STP. I am glad that Sec Anyo was one of those lead agencies, along with Seximato, for the rehabilitation of Boracay. Let us not wait our regions, our islands, and our LGUs to deteriorate like Boracay and close it and rehabilitate it before we reopen. Let us not wait to destroy the God-given wealth and natural resources we have before we take care of it. And so, we are an archipelagic nation of 30 million hectares and thousands upon thousands of islands. If we just care for every river and lake and open sea and not throw trash in our rivers, we are the #3 in the world source of plastic waste. That is not, hindi po magandang reputasyon yan, na ang Pilipinas of 105 million people is the #3 worst source of plastic trash. That is why I filed the ban on the use of single-use plastic bags. I'm also, if you see, I don't have bottled water, and I hope the Manila Hotel would ban the use of plastic bottled water. I bring my own jug so that I refill my water. Sec Anyo knows, all government agencies knows, our ASEC of previously of the LGA knows that. I have announcements during my hearings. Everybody brings their own bottled water, and we don't serve, their own water jugs, we don't serve bottled water. So back to the Clean Water Act. Let us make sure that our rivers and lakes are not the repository of plastic waste or trash, of human waste, of course. So we must make sure we have STPs, just like what Sec Anyo did in Boracay. Third, and perhaps my pet law, is RA 9003, which was specially mentioned earlier. That was the first law I wrote in 1998 as a new senator. It's been enacted since January of 2001. It's 2018. It's a 17-year-old law. I ask, how many of our LGUs, 1,600, actually implement the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act, where we institutionalize the segregation of waste at source, recycling, and composting? No, it is not a difficult law to implement, because why is it that in Barangay Potrero, in Malabon, which used to be one of the dirtiest barangays, pero tinutukan ko ng 6 na buwan, house to house, pinuturuan ko dahil nahihiya ako na ang sariling barangay kung saan may ancestral home ang aking lola ay hindi sumusunod. To make a long story short, naging winner ng Clean and Green Award nung naturuan. So kailangan lang turuan. Isa pa po, Nyogang sa Tagaytay, kung saan din ang lola ko may maliit na farm na pinamana sa akin. Years ago, when I went there, in the barangay road, I would see plastic bottles and trash. In the Senate, they call me not senator, they call me Kapitana. Kasi ang dating ko daw, Kapitana. Totoo yan. Pati sa Antique, tanong nyo kay Governor Cadjao at kay Nanding Corbera. Ako, si Kapitana, ang gustong kausap, Kapitan. Dahil sila ang nagpapatupad ng ating mga batas. Tawag ako kay Kapitan, espiritu ng yoga. Hindi pa nyo naman batas ko, bakit tayo may mga plastik sa daan? Hay, naku, Senator, kasi matitigas ang ulo. Hindi! Tuturuan ko kayo, house to house. 6 na buwan. Nagpatira ako ng tao doon, tinuruan, bawat isa, nanalo na naman ng Clean and Green Award. Ngayon, hindi ng MMDA, I think it was a national contest. Nalaman ng barangay sikat ng Alfonso, sabi, bakit sila lang ang tinuturuan ni Senadora, kapitbahay, tinuruan na rin ng barangay sikat. They were so excited. Ngayon, yung dating parang mini dump site nila, ginawang gulayan. So, I'm saying, even Barangay Fort in Taguig is a recipient of an award. Barangay Blue Ridge of Sonia Mendoza of Mother Earth is also an awardee. So, all these LGUs actually do it, barangay level. If only we do it, we can have up to 80% diversion. What does it mean? Bote lata plastic sa MRF, pwedeng i-recyclo. Food waste and other waste or organic in compost pit, I do my own compost. Ang lata, residual waste, which cannot go to bote lata plastic or food waste or leaves or twigs, is the residual that will go to the environmental engineered sanitary landfill. So only 20 to 30%. So the NIMBY issue of not in my backyard will not be an issue because only 20 to 30% will actually go to the landfill. So yung turuan ng LGU kung sino ang mag-host ng landfill ay hindi malaking problema dahil nag-segregate tayo at county na lang ang pupunta sa mga landfill. And so, this is actually so simple. It's just yung tamang gawain, hindi ba? Yung ating pagkamalinis at pagkatao. I invite all of you, turn by turn, to visit my office in the Senate and see how strict I am. I don't only have 3 bins, I have 5 bins. Paper waste na kahiwalay, and bote lata plastic, and the food waste, and the lata residual waste. I don't know what's the 5th one. I forgot. I'm so strict that in my home, in my little farm, and in my office. There was one time I saw waste unsegregated. I saw paper where there was a plastic bottle. I said, everybody stop working, put in this, parang may nag-krimen. Walang umaamin. Finally, my secretary said, Ma'am, ako po, you don't deserve to work in the Senate if you can't even implement the law of your principal. Okay, segregate it now, and write in a piece of paper 100 times that you will follow the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act, parang grade school. Because how else will you tell these people who work in the law-making body of our country, how else will you teach them? And believe me, that's how I transformed Nyogan. That's how I transformed Potrero. That's how LGUs must do it. Let us ban and make it a criminal offense to throw any trash in our lakes, rivers, canal, esteros, and seas. Bakit naundoy? Hindi dahil sa sobra lang ng ulan, dahil stuck ang plastic sa ating mga esteros at canal. The flooding that happened Cagayan de Oro many years ago was because nakastuck din ang mga kanal. And so I can go on and on with these stories, but every LGU chief executive that prides herself or himself with his town or city or even barangay should do this. It's something so basic that does not even need convincing, even in communities which are populated by informal settlers, and that is in the barangay Potrero in Malabon. That is the third. Fourth, Environmental Education Awareness Act. All DepEd schools teach environment. I hope that they teach it the way I'm lecturing now, because if our children were taught this way, I am certain that governance in our country would be easier. And fifth, the renewable energy law, the transitioning from fossil fuel to renewable energy, and that's important because we know that the era of climate change is here and now, and that we are breaching the more than 1.5 degrees Celsius. And when we reach that level of global warming, then more Ondoys, more Yolandas will happen. And as a vulnerable nation that is not responsible for climate change, we bear the brunt, even if we are a 1/3 of 1% emitter of greenhouse gas emissions in the world. And then we have the Climate Change Act that created the Commission on Climate Change and the People's Survival Fund. I don't think many of our LGUs actually know that this actually exists. There's a 1 billion fund. I think Siargao won, then Carmen won in Surigao Sur, and other LGUs. please access the fund. It's a DOF through the DBP that actually assesses LGUs that have proposals for climate, field schools, and environmental projects that are climate change adaptation projects. So these are just some of the laws on environment, and I'm so glad that you've made it again one of the 7 core of your seal of good governance. Nasa dalawa pa lang tayo, pagod na ako. DRR, environment, tourism and culture. That's so close to my heart because for the longest time, I always fund tourism and culture projects like the preservation of the schools of living tradition. What is this? These are not formal schools. These are schools of our indigenous peoples. My board member, Pio, is there of the IPs of Antique. And the schools of living tradition actually document and preserve the indigenous knowledge and culture of our IPs all over the country. So where there are weaving traditions, let's say in Ilocos Norte and Ilocos Sur or in the Cordillera, we provide funding assistance, provision of threads and hand looms, or whatever equipment is important, is necessary for them to preserve the culture of a living tradition. If it is oral heritage in their chants and rituals, or if it is intangible or tangible heritage, we preserve it through our convergence projects with the National Museum, with the National Commission on Culture and Arts, and the other cultural agencies. And so, I agree with Secretary Berna Romulo that focuses on sustainable tourism because we can only promote tourism, both domestic and foreign, if we actually preserve our environment and our culture. Ano bang turismo ang ating pag-uusapan kung kalbo ang ating kabundukan at palagi tayong malangaw at madumi at puro basura at ang ating ilog ay parang tapunan ng basura or sabi nga ni Presidente, cesspool. And so, tourism will only happen if we actually take care of nature and culture. And of course, number 4, all of this will be to naught if we don't take care of our orderliness and peaceful atmosphere. I'm glad that we have a secretary who's a former military man, just like me. I'm with the military, I'm a colonel in the Air Force, and I actually do my work military style, complete staff work, and Sec Anya knows this. And that's important, the preservation of peace and order. And that's the reason why, under my watch, as chairman of the Finance Committee, we doubled the pay of police and military and non-uniformed personnel. For those who don't know, when the President announced that, after Marawi, the budget was done. It was already provided under the DEP. As chairman of the Finance Committee, I had to find the funds para panindigan yung Pangulo, yung promisa, pangako ni Pangulo. And as chairman, I did not give the President any problem. Whatever he said, I found the funds, and therefore, the police and the military enjoying double of their pay with a more than 60 billion augmentation in the budget. Also under my watch, and in previous years, people would say, there is no such thing as free education. I said, pwede yan. Hahanapan ng pondo. Along with other colleagues in the Senate, including Senator Sally Angara, we authored the free tertiary education. More than 40 billion has been allocated, as you very well know, in all SUCs and LUCs as well. And so, peace and order is so important. By taking care of our police and our military, that's the only time we can actually enjoy. Imagine, I visited the 61st Infantry Battalion in Miag-Ao in Iloilo. Ang init ng kanilang lugar, I mean, these young officers sacrifice themselves away from their families to take care of peace and order in Region 6 and in the Panay Island, both military and police. And so we've allocated an additional 800 million under the National Housing Authority for housing for police and for the AFP. Secretary Anya knows this, and during the hearing, I think I asked the Chief PNP the status of the provision of NHA housing for our police and the AFP, which is not under the term, but I mentioned it anyway. And so, business friendliness, and competitiveness. Of course, that goes without saying. That is the reason why we passed the Ease of Doing Business, and I offered the Innovation Act so that we can actually, but it's not yet enacted into law, but soon it will be enacted into law. Business competitiveness. We have the Barangay Kabuhayan Law, which is implemented by TESDA for the provision of skills training in 4th, 5th, and 6th class municipalities. It was mentioned earlier in the video that it's not a matter of resources that we are able to win the seal of good governance. It is really in the way we govern. And so, under the Barangay Kabuhayan Act, TESDA is given enough funds to specially train the indigenous resources and skills in the 4th, 5th, and 6th class. Aside from that, one of the laws I authored, which is being implemented, is the MSME law, Micro and Small and Medium Enterprises. That is the reason why we support the shared services facilities. It is important that everybody here knows and accesses the SSF. All through these years, I've asked the Department of Trade and Industry to make it easy for POs, NGOs, LGUs to access the SSF. Ito yung mga equipment na kailangan sa mga maliliit na negosyo. Importante yan. Kung sila ay kailangan ng handloom, kung kailangan nila ng makina, kung ano ang kailangan nila para umunlad ang kanilang mga buhay. I've done that in barangays, in Antique, in many other provinces in the country. 6, social protection. Of course, that's why we have the DSWD Sustainable Livelihood Program. In a visit to Barangay Poblacion in Patloon, in Antique, sa liblib na lugar, binisita ko yung egg laying project where 54 families have actually accessed 1 million pesos so they have income for themselves for an egg laying business, micro enterprise under the SLP of the DSWD. There are many other agencies that do social protection measures. Perhaps our LGUs don't know all of it. Do you know that there is a DOST CES? And do you actually access funds from them? The DOST CES is the Community Empowerment through Science and Technology. I helped a Langgunisa little store in Pandan, Antique. Natikman ko yung Langgunisa. Ang panaginip daw niya magkaroon ng maayos tindahan. Pina-assess ko DOST CES, nabigyan ng equipment. Pinuntahan ko sa Sebastian at Antique, meron dating sari-sari store. Pina-assess ko at nag-qualify sila under the DSWD SLP. Ngayon may mini-mart na sila. So all these agencies of government, whether it's a Dole Tupan or Dole Pangkabuhayan, the DTI SSF, the DSWD SLP, or the DOST CES, and many more, should be converged so that all LGUs must know how much are the funds, must know how to access it, and communicate it to the barangays and to the people's organizations and to the Women's Federation and to the out-of-school organizations, etc. So I named 6. What is the 7th? What did I miss? Tourism, lahat na nasabi ko. And social protection, tourism, peace, and order. I named 7. I counted wrong. And so, did I bore you with all the programs of government? I believe that it is only through knowing and awareness that I'm able to communicate it. Because as the chairman of the Finance Committee crafting the 3.7 trillion national budget, if this budget is not communicated clearly to the beneficiaries, who are the Filipino people, who actually access it through local government chief executives, then we will have a budget that is underspent again. And that is the problem of government. That's why I agree on cash-based budgeting so that 12 months, there's fiscal discipline. I know that I transform my speech into a lecture because that's how I always am. I'm very passionate about my work, and I believe that all of these programs of government are well-intentioned. However, there is a lag in the implementation of all these projects. I know you're all hungry and our waiters are very masipag serving. So I will cut short my brief lecture today. So I hope that I can enlighten all of you with the programs of government that we are funding. Ako'y nagpapasalamat na binigyan ng pagkakataon ni Secretary Anyo at ang DILG na paratingin sa inyo ang napakaraming programa ng ating pamahalaan para mabigyan ng pag-asenso, kabuhayan, ang ating matagal nang naghihirap na mga kababayan. When they say, walang pera, I say, it's not true. Maraming pera. When they say, hindi kaya, and I say, kayang-kaya. When they say, kasi, hindi pwedeng kasi, kaya lahat yan. And so, it is about time that we make sure that local governance really works. And the seal of good governance is a key towards empowering all our local governments. I look forward to the day when all the 1,600 local governments and the 80 provinces will be winners, and there's no longer a need for the seal because the whole Filipino nation has the seal of good local governance. And I am with you in bringing our country to that aspect, to that level of prosperity, so that this great nation will be great once again. On this occasion, I thank you very much for listening. Mabuhay! Kruhay!
Thank you so much.